welcome back. After Delhi, air pollution has tightened its grip in metro cities like Mumbai, with alarming visuals of haze and dipping air quality levels are now there for all of you to see. Mumbai's average AQI in the past 7 days has been in the unhealthy category. In Maharashtra, the state government has ordered a halt to construction activity across the state. Over 1,000 construction sites have now been notified with notices issued for alleged violations of environmental norms. Actor Sammy Kher has voiced concern, saying she now wears a mask even for her morning runs, calling clean air a luxury and asking if basic accountability is too much to expect. Actor and endurance runner Sammy Kher has spoken out, like I said, about Mumbai's worsening air quality, saying the city she trains in and calls home is becoming increasingly difficult to breathe in. She now joins us live here on Breaking Ground. Sammy, thank you so much for speaking to us here on Breaking Ground. I first want to ask you a very important question. Why was it important for you to speak out publicly at this point?
Well, I feel it's been a problem which is we all suffering for some time now. And I think it was just constant amount of days. Every single day I'd go out and I was constantly getting a persistent cough. And it's not about just me speaking out. This is a community at large. These are pretty much all the runners around me, all the cyclists around me have the same complaints. And it is also a little privileged of me to say that, if I can't run out, I'll go inside. But not everyone has that kind of an option, right? So it's not just me. It is a community of runners of India who wants to really be fit, because we are seeing a major fitness movement in India. So this is just a voice of everyone who's feeling the same.
You've always spoken out about running by the sea in Mumbai. When did you first feel the air wasn't the same anymore?
Well, I think it's been maybe 2 or 3 years where we could see this gradual change in the air, because I've been doing the Mumbai Marathon that happens in Jan every year. So last year, it felt very stagnant. There was, just a lot of smog around because we start at 5 in the morning. And this time around, all my marathon photos, you couldn't see the ceiling. I was running on the ceiling, but you can't see the ceiling because it was polluted. And we've trained through this November, December, Jan, and it is impacting people's health, because you are coughing, you are constantly at the doctor, you're constantly sniffling, and the only solution they say is don't go out and exercise, is what doctors have told me and a lot of people around me. So what does one do then? Because you want to, and there's just so much stress in life that running for me is like a stress buster. So if you can't do that, then I don't know what one does.
But does that make you think twice now about training outdoors in your own city?
So the other day I went out, I carried a mask. Usually when we train out, I'm either doing 18 kilometers, 20 kilometers, or we're doing speed sessions. And it is very unhealthy to wear a mask and do that because you need oxygen, right? So I can't even actually run. So the other day it was literally like a really slow jog. And I said that even if I want to do this, it can't be done without a mask. So very honestly, if I want to train seriously for any kind of race ahead, and I'm not even an athlete, I do this as my leisure, as a stress buster, I don't think it can be done outside.
And that's really sad and unfortunate, not only for you, but so many people like you who just want to take that walk or go out jogging. Sammy, I want to understand from you, do you worry about the long-term damage now to your health and to young runners who look up to you, perhaps, look up to others who take this up very seriously?
Well, absolutely, because the whole idea of running, of trying to be fit, is that you prolong your life. But when we go out, it's like I've never held a cigarette in my life. So when you go out, you're almost smoking 5 to 6 cigarettes a day. So it's counterproductive to go out. You're, like you said, harming your health. And it's not only concerning for me. Again, I say this, I am an actor first and I genuinely love what I do. This is a leisure recreational sport I've taken up, but it's youngsters. When I say youngsters, I mean babies. They are born with asthma nowadays. So we're seeing kids who are 2 and 3 years old who've got asthma, which is very, very concerning, because again, this is not something I spoke about because it's genuinely not something about me versus somebody in power or me versus somebody in authority, because everyone is breathing the same air. The people in power, in opposition, doctors, teachers, athletes, actors, journalists, everyone's breathing the same air. So we have to be collective. And this is the problem has to be collectively solved because it can't be solved by just one person.
But you have the example of Delhi, Sayami. I live in Delhi. I've been living here for over a decade. I've seen my child cough, get infections over and over again. Why isn't Mumbai learning from Delhi is my problem here, is my question to you. As a citizen of Mumbai, why is it that we are reactive to such situations and we're not proactive to such situations?
No, it's a really valid point you bring up because we have seen what's happened to Delhi, and it's again people even on my post, a lot of people said, "Oh, you live in Mumbai, come to Delhi and see." But it's not about a Mumbai Delhi. It's not
It's
about a
not.
Calcutta Delhi. The thing is that any AQI above 100 is considered very, very unhealthy outside, right? So it's not about we are at 400, you are at 200. Anything above 100 is unhealthy. So it again, like you said, we should learn, we should adapt. Thankfully, the last 4 days, I think constructions in and around Khar and Bandra have stopped. So hopefully that will bring the air AQI a little lower. But again, it is temporary, right? Because
Absolutely.
everyone wants good roads, everyone wants development because we are all for it. But it has to come at a responsible citizens need to speak up. If your buildings around you which are being redeveloped don't have that shade netting around, then you go to the authorities and say that sir nahi hai. I have gone and done it. I've gone to the HWAD and said, sir, these buildings don't have it, and I'm living right next to the building. The next day, there was that green shade net. So, as citizens, you need to go to your respective wards and also raise those questions, right? You can't just put something up on Twitter and Instagram and forget about it
It
because
has to be a persistent, consistent, constant
exactly.
effort, like you're saying. But like you just pointed out about the construction bit, Mumbai is constantly under construction. Do you think progress is just about development and infrastructure, or is it also about breathable air, which should be something that we shouldn't even be, unfortunately, discussing today, you and I?
Like you're saying, it can't be a luxury, right? Because what is the point of roads and buildings and development if we are not going to have air to breathe? Because how do you step out of your houses if there's no air to breathe? And right now, we're at least having this discussion. And again, coming back to the fitness, we're seeing India move towards a fitter society. But we have to make sure that the conditions around us are favorable for people to go out and run, people to go out and become fit. So development comes at a cost, which I understand, but again, it just rules have to be followed, rules have to be implied. For instance, if there are 200 buildings being redeveloped in your area, are the builders following those rules? If
Yeah.
they're not, people need to go complain. Authorities to take charge of people who are not following the rules.
So let me come to a question that I've been wanting to ask you ever since I saw your post on social media. Do you think more actors and public figures should take a stand on environmental issues? Is that what we're lacking as well? Because when you say it has to be a collective effort, these are huge influencers.
In the era I completely understand that people who have, be it actors, sportsmen, powerful people who are in the face and who are influential, 100% should speak up because they also breathe the same air. But somewhere I feel it's become this thing of, putting your finger on someone else. Just as citizens, I feel that you need to speak up because your power is just as important. And if citizens gather together or the cycling and the running community gathers together, it's way more powerful than an influencer or an actor who, one person goes and says something. I totally understand that there are people of power and influence who should speak up so it reaches more people. But I think this has to be collective. It has to be communities coming together and saying that we need to make a change.
So what then, Sayami, would be your message to the city's leadership? And I don't want this to be controversial. I'm asking you this question as a citizen of Mumbai who's flagged such an important environmental issue.
Well, I mean, it's not controversial at all because, like I'm constantly repeating, everyone's breathing the same air. The politicians are breathing the same air. Their children are breathing the same air. We are breathing the same air. So, this is for everyone. It's not about one versus me versus you or us versus them. It's about everyone. So, I feel one is that yes, there has to be development because everyone moves towards development, but we have to probably figure at what cost. Two is very strict rules have to be implied, because if strict rules are implied, it's a very dark example to go to. But during COVID, we saw everything reverse with regards to the air quality, with regards to how people are feeling, because everyone with cars were not being used. So if authorities feel let's not have cars in certain area, citizens will have to agree to it because it's for your own good.
Yep,
So
it
as
has
a
to be a
authority,
two-way street,
has to be
absolutely.
a two-way street. So there have to be rules which have to be implemented and have to come with strict penalty if they're not.
You know, Sammy, before I let you go, I just want to ask you this question because, like I said, I've been a resident of the National Capital Region for more than a decade now. There comes a tipping point. Do you think Mumbai is at that tipping point? Because my question to you before I let you go is Mumbai slowly normalizing toxic air?
Well, that's a major concern, because if you say that, oh, the AQI is just 230, it's all right because Delhi is 400, it's not all right, because your lungs are turning black. You see little kids, they are 14, 13 years old, they have lungs of a smoker. And this is because you're normalizing an AQI of 240. So it is not all right. And we have to really, really very urgently address this issue. Otherwise, it's going to be too late.
Sammy Kher, I wish we were talking about something more uplifting, a happier issue perhaps, but I can't thank you enough for flagging this issue to the people of Mumbai, to the people of India, and I hope there is a consensus among policy makers and politicians and all stakeholders that it's time to sit down and discuss what can be done to make Mumbai breathable again. It's a city which is beautiful, it's a city with a sea, and we need our residents of Mumbai to breathe happily again and to breathe freely again. Sarmi Kher, thank you so much for joining me here on Breaking Ground.
Thank you. Thank you.